Are you interested in applying to BSMD programs? If you are, stay tuned for this webinar because I'm going to tell you how you can turn your application from good to great. And we know that you guys are outstanding students and you're extremely passionate about medicine. So let me help you get into these programs and tell you exactly what you need to do to have a strong application. Okay, let's get started. So whether you are a ninth grader or a rising senior, this PowerPoint is going to be extremely useful for you. So let me just go over what we will cover. We are going to start with a brief introduction, and then we're going to go over the 5 main mistakes to avoid in your application, and then I'll go over what to do, which includes what extracurriculars are powerful, what you should write in your essays, and a little bit of advice for interviews. So let's start with me. I'm currently a junior in a BSMD program, and everyone that works at Pathway Prep has been admitted into a BSMD program. We are very familiar with the process, and we can help you get into the program that you need. And we understand the position you're in because we've been there before. We've worked really hard in high school, and we're extremely passionate about medicine, and we've done what you wanted to do. The only thing is, it becomes so difficult when there's so much information online to process. So that's what this is for, and we're going to help you and give you all of the information that you need. So let's start by seeing if you're in the right place. You could be a freshman or a senior in high school. This information is beneficial for anyone that wants to get into a BSMD. And I would even argue that the earlier you know this stuff, the better. So first off, are you motivated? Do you have a passion for medicine? Do you know the sacrifices that it takes for an MD? And are you ready to work? If so, let's get started. Have you experienced this before? Have you felt a sense of confusion, being frustrated with contradictory information? Feel like you have no clear guidance and there's way too many streams of information. Overall, you're just not that sure on what to do. So let me start by asking, what are BSMD programs? So BSMD programs give you admission into medical school at the age of 17 to 18 years old, makes you a student doctor. Sounds fantastic, right? It also puts you ahead of the curve. You're ahead of all traditional medical students when it comes to preparing for residency because you know you're already into medical school. But as you all know, they're extremely competitive. But thankfully, we're here to give you a little bit of help and tell you how we got into these programs ourselves. First, how can you apply? You apply using the common application, and you initially apply to the undergraduate institution, and you select that you're interested in their BSMD program. This might lead you to have a little bit of supplementary work, interviews with the undergrad, more supplementary essays from the medical school, and an interview with the medical school. All of this depends on the college and the program you're applying to, but you will get some type of interview and some type of supplementary essay to write. So let me tell you what the 5 main mistakes are for applicants that are applying to these programs so you don't make the same mistakes, and we can get started in telling you how you can improve your application. The first issue is not applying broadly. Most people just apply to the top programs, which makes their already competitive chances even lower. So I would see if you're interested in both MD and DO schools, or apply to a variety of competitiveness. Not spending enough time on essays is a huge deal. I personally started my essays in early August. I started drafting all of my supplementary essays, and this gave me a head start and an edge compared to all my other friends that were doing it last minute. So please do not use the same template, end up copy pasting. It's really important that your essay is directed towards the specific school, and you have people like us reviewing your essays to make sure that they're up to par to the program standards and they clearly show who you are and show you in the best light possible. Next is not showing interest in the university. A lot of programs and traditional universities like seeing that their students are interested in coming to their institution. This means going to virtual open houses. This means emailing representatives and people showing your interest, asking them to read your application perhaps. going to interest meetings. And if there's a specific school or program you're interested in, you can try going to their pre-college, try doing research there, whatever works for you. The next thing is having some type of cliche extracurricular. Don't just try to check boxes for the sake of getting into these programs. They like seeing some sort of tangible passion. There needs to be proof in the numbers, in the way that you write, that you have passion towards what you're doing. You need to show some sort of growth, something where you caused change in and you didn't just do for a resume. Admissions officers can tell based on your essays and your interviews what is genuine and what is not. So, showing that you're dedicated towards your extracurriculars and they're not just typical ones for an application is extremely important. The last mistake is not having a clear motive for medicine. It's really important to know your reason and know your story. I suggest that everyone do some introspection. Take 30 minutes to think about why this is something that you want to do for yourself. And you'll realize that there's so much that you'll learn and know about yourself. You can think about the type of doctor you want to be in the future, the kind of change you'd like to make. Think about why being a doctor over other fields where you could also help people. Reflect on your experiences, reflect on everything that you've learned, and write it all down. It's a lot simpler than it seems, but it's really important to make sure that you don't just make something up to try to make yourself look good or show some kind of superficial reason for why you want to go into medicine, like money or respect or because of your parents. It's also really important that when you have to express why you want to go into medicine, it shows a little bit about your character and who you are as a person. So let's get started with our advice. I'm going to help you with this stuff and give you the insider details on what works. And these are the main things that you need to get into medical school at the age of 17 or 18. And once again, if you've dealt with not knowing what you need to do, but you're extremely passionate about becoming a doctor, I'm going to tell you the basics right now. So first, I would recommend that you have standardized tests of around this level. An SAT of 1500, ACT of around 34, and at least a 3.8 GPA. And then now let's go into extracurriculars. So there are 3 core extracurriculars that BSMDs typically look for. And those are volunteering, clinical experience, and research. You can get volunteering in many ways, and this essentially is just something that you do for your community without any benefit to you. It's just helping other people out. And experiences include volunteering at a hospital, at a hospice, at a veteran's home, through an organization like Red Cross, at a soup kitchen, at a blood drive, through school clubs, at a local park, at a local church, temple, or mosque, at a summer camp, or through a nonprofit. We can help you also think of ways to get more volunteer experience and better volunteering experience as well. And a nonprofit can be you volunteering through a nonprofit, you being part of a nonprofit, or you creating a nonprofit of your own. Clinical experience can consist of hospital volunteering, medical center volunteering, physician shadowing, which we highly recommend that every single applicant has because it teaches you about what a daily life of a physician is like, and it shows that you know what to expect when applying to medical school. Maybe an EMT or becoming an EMS cadet, or a medical assistant, or a nursing assistant. Basically, your clinical activities should be anything where you are directly touching or interacting with patients. You should be forming a one-on-one connection with them, and it should teach you about what the medical profession entails. And I would highly recommend that you have a good amount of hours in this category because it's really representative of what being a doctor is like as well. And lastly, research. So there's many ways you can get research. You can start by contacting professors at a local college near you to have a long-term research experience. And other ways also include a summer research program or a research program through your school or through internships. Essentially, research is extremely important because it's the scientific basis of medicine and it really helps in modernizing and making medicine evolve. And in this, I would recommend that you have a lot of hours and you eventually get to a point where you can publish. That would make your application a lot stronger as well. But any kind of research experience is very good. So, how can you stand out? Because everyone mostly has the stuff that I mentioned before. But if everyone has it, how will you get accepted in the program? This comes from having more hours, more experience, awards and achievements, leadership, some type of passion project, and overall just having dedication, showing that you are committed to this path and having some sort of narrative where you seem like a humane person and you have some sort of passion, personality. All of that plays a huge role in being admitted into these programs. And we can help you stand out and not seem like everyone else so you can craft your narrative. And we'll tell you what activities to focus on, help you figure out what your passion is, and how you can show your dedication. Because finding a nuance in your application that makes you seem like a stellar candidate is essential. Show that you're so mature that you deserve to get into medical school at 17 or 18 years old, which is like 4 years younger than most traditional applicants. In addition, I also wanted to mention that having some sort of hobby in your resume or in your college application is also very, very important because it shows that you have a way of winding down during medical school, shows that you have other things that you like to do, shows a little bit of personality into who you are as a person. So, moving on to essays. This may seem like it's just for seniors, but it's great knowledge for underclassmen as well, because the earlier you know this information, the better, because you can plan for the future. You can think about what you want your essays to be like and maybe even craft your extracurriculars towards that idea. So here are a few essays that you will eventually have to write. This is very college dependent, but everyone will definitely have to write a common application essay. And you may have some kind of extra essay for the honors college or for the BSMD program, something like that on the common application. And you will also have supplemental essays and obviously the why medicine essay. So the main themes that I would recommend you show in your essays, and these are also themes that are in the questions on the Common App, are something related to growth, learning a lesson, showing your passion, maybe a problem that you've solved or would like to solve, culture and religion and what that's taught you, something related to teamwork, a life-changing experience, anything that helps admissions officers see who you are, see the lessons you've learned, and how you've matured into the person you are today, and how those experiences shaped you into who you are today is a great theme to write your essay about. Like I mentioned, you kind of just want to show your maturity, your passion and dedication, and a strong understanding of medicine. What do you not want to show? You do not have to emphasize your GPA, SAT scores, anything like that. They have that information in your transcript, in your score sends, whatever it may be. You do not need to brag. Anything that comes off as conceited can make admissions officers actually reject your application, and you may not seem like the perfect fit for being a doctor. You don't need to list your extracurriculars because, once again, they have that in your common application. It's more important to show what you've learned from those extracurriculars. You also don't need to use some kind of superfluous vocabulary. Any normal vocabulary that has good readability is more important. And also, any kind of superficiality, like I mentioned before, should not be in your application at all. Nothing related to money, respect, anything like that. So, in your why medicine essay, you need to show how your life experiences were meaningful to you, craft a narrative on why medicine is the right path for you, show your drive and what caused your initial interest in medicine, And then show an understanding of the field. Show that your experiences have helped you understand what to expect. And show your compassion and desire to help others. Please notice how all of these say show, because you shouldn't be directly stating something. You should be showing it from your activities and the stuff you've learned from your activities. The reader should be able to infer it on their own. This would lead them to the idea, and that will create a stronger impression of you towards the admissions officers. And in your resume and activities section on your application, you will also have to have a brief description of your activities. So I would also brainstorm what you did specifically. This section does not have to be amazingly written. It doesn't have to have transitions or great sentences. It should be the quickest and best way to describe everything you've achieved in your activities. You should cut out all of the fluff. You should make it very concise, very easy to read, and formatted in a way where people can tell right away what you've done and what you've contributed to society. So for your interviews, you may have two different types of interviews in this process. One of them is a traditional interview. This is a one-on-one interview where people will ask you basic questions. They will get to know you. They will ask you to explain your activities and also why medicine. The other type of interview is a multiple mini interview. This one is a little bit daunting for people because you have multiple interviews going on. They're all about 8 minutes long, so you have a lot more people to impress. But it's more holistic because suppose you don't have a great experience with one interviewer, you can make it up with the others. And these have a lot of different types of questions, but there are some that want to see your ethics. So you may have an acting scenario where you have to pretend like you're a doctor. They will ask you about a complicated case and say, what would you do in this situation? So you will have to show your compassion, all of those other ethical values that you have to answer that kind of question. You will also have some teamwork interviews where you're working with other people, some character interviews. They'll ask about your character. You may be asked about policy to see, oh, what policy would you change or anything like that. There are also some writing questions where you have to type your answer, and personality questions that are just little questions to get to know you. So an example would be like, if you go to lunch with anyone on this planet, who would you go to lunch with? So these interviews, it's really important for the interviewer to see who you are as a person, but it could be really difficult to express that, especially in such a stressful situation. So that's what we're here for. And we highly recommend that you go and have mock interviews. You have people who've experienced interviews before tell you what to do, give you criticism, anything like that to improve your ability to express how you feel and show yourself in the best light during these interviews. So you can either embark on this journey alone with this knowledge, or you can receive guidance from us, people who've personally experienced the process, and work with us to get you into these programs. So how can we help you? We will look over your extracurriculars. And in this, we will tell you what needs improvement, figure out the gaps in your application so we can help you fill them. And this will consist of telling you where to focus your time and how to improve your resume. This will all be personalized and catered to you to ensure that you're the most impressive candidate you can be. And this will focus on your story and what strengthens you as an applicant. We will also look over your essays. We will make sure that your essay is catered to you, your story, and what strengthens you as an applicant. This consists of editing your essays, helping you create a narrative and story, helping you brainstorm, and we'll help you with all the essays you may have to write in the future, which includes your common application essay, your supplementary essays, and your why medicine essay. And this comes in 2 different forms. We can either hop on a call and it would be a one-on-one editing session. We would read your essay beforehand and give you advice in person so we can discuss it, or we can give you asynchronous editing on your essay document itself without hopping on a call. The third thing we help you with is your application. We will look over your common application and supplementary applications to make sure that you're doing them correctly. And this consists of helping you create a college list, reviewing your activities section, reviewing your application as a whole, and keeping track of all opportunities that may come your way. And lastly, we will prepare you for your interviews. This will make sure that you don't fall through the cracks and you can clearly articulate your passion. We will give you interview advice, we will perform mock interviews, give you constructive criticism, and show you ways you can improve and make sure that you can, like I said before, articulate your passion for both medicine and all your activities. And interviews are so crucial because this is where they can see your personality. So we're going to make sure that you ace those interviews. As you know, BSMD acceptance rates are extremely low, and they compete with both Harvard and Stanford at around 5% per program. This makes applications extremely important. It's so important to make a good application list and have a powerful application with your essays, your resume, your activities section, your common application, all of the things we covered today. And within that, things like showing interest in the college, having good word choice, and so many other factors come into play. And with someone like us on your side, you can make sure that your application is in good hands. So we offer 4 plans. The first one is for 9th through 11th graders, and we will help you with everything you need before your senior year to make sure that you are a competitive applicant. This includes helping you get research, telling you where you need improvement, helping you figure out how many hours you need, whatever you may need, whatever questions you may have, that's what this plan is for. Our silver, gold, and diamond plan is for our seniors, and it consists of mentorship sessions, which can be used in any way you require, essay reviewing sessions, application review sessions, and interview preparation. And all of our pricing plans and everything that it includes can be found on our services page on our website. If this sounds interesting to you, I recommend that you schedule a free 20-minute consultation today. We can give you some preliminary advice and give you a little snapshot of what to expect when you do start working with us. And if you have any questions regarding sales in our programs, you can always email us at thepathwayprep@gmail.com. Thank you for sticking around until the end of this webinar. If you have any questions, like always, you can shoot us an email. And if you would like our guidance, please feel free to schedule a consultation and let's get started. Thank you.